So I got a question for us, Israel. Are we truly believing? And the reason I ask this question is because we have a story in the book of Numbers, I believe lightly touched on in the book of Joshua, where the Most High is about to bring the children of Israel into the promised land. But there was something he needed them to do before he brought them in. He had Moses send out some spies into the land to do a survey and to come back and report to the elders what they had saw. Now, when I say, are we truly believing? I'm saying this because these men walk with the Father, where he was a cloud by day and a fire by night. They experienced his mighty hand. They experienced him bringing them out of Egypt with signs and wonders. They experienced the manna that came down from the Shamayim. They experienced the quails, the water. They experienced so many things by the hand of Yah. Yet here I am asking, do we still believe, Israel? I don't believe they had any idea that Yah was testing their belief when they received the commands to go into the land to scope it out. So when they came back to report to the leadership what they had saw and what they had experienced, this was the moment where their belief was put on display. How many of you understand that we can see something with our eyes? We can feel something with our hands. We can experience something with our entire being. And this can, one, cause our belief to be utterly destroyed, or it can cause our belief to be empowered, to be strengthened. Follow along with me. How we relate what we saw, what we felt, and what we experienced is very important. Listen to what the spies said. So 10 of the spies came back and reported that the land was surely flowing with milk and honey. They also brought back some of the fruit that they picked from a tree. They stated that the people living in the land were strong, that the cities were fortified and large. They saw that the descendants of Anak or Anak were living in the land, and they reported who was living where in the land. Now, what they reported was true in the essence of what they saw, what they felt, and what they experienced. Now, there were 2 other spies that were with these 10 spies, but we're going to look at what they reported. But keep this in mind. The 2 spies were with the other 10. They saw the same thing. They felt the same thing. They experienced the same atmosphere and presence and everything else that the other 10 experienced. But let's look at what they said. The 2 spies came back and stated verbatim, "We shall go up and take possession of the land. We shall surely prevail over it." What's happening here? Can somebody see where I'm getting at? Belief is a beast. And the reason we need it in these last hours is because we need the faith and the belief in the spirit that was operating in the 2 spies, because we're going to see some things. We're going to feel some things. And we're going to experience some things. But if our belief, our faith, and our spirit, our ruach, is the same as these two spies who saw the land, who felt the fruit that was plucked, and experienced being in the land where there were giants and there were people being what was the word, devoured by the inhabitants of the land. There were giants there. Can you imagine seeing these things with your natural eye, but still maintaining the faith and the belief in your God? Because just because you're seeing these things, and you're feeling these things, or you're experiencing these things, you should have a recollection or a memory bank of the things that your God has done, be it for you, be it for those around you, or be it what is written in his word. We see how he, with a strong and mighty outstretched arm, where he brought the children of Israel out of Egypt with signs and wonders. We saw how he carried them through the wilderness. We saw how he has been showing up over and over again throughout the scriptures from the very beginning. Even all throughout the scriptures, we see the Most High, their God, their Elohim, showing up for them. And this was the faith, this was the belief that they walked in, where they were able to come back and report, although we saw this and we felt that and we experienced this, they knew that it was wisdom to report what they can do, because they believed that their God, their Elohim, would bring them into this land that he had already promised them. And I can almost imagine these young men growing up in the midst of Yashraal, or Israel, hearing Moses and Aaron and some of the other elders talk about this promised land. We're out here in this wilderness because we're trying to get to this promised land. We're trying to get to the land that the Most High promised our fathers. You know, this was the whole point of bringing them out of Egypt, to get them into the land. So here they are at the gates. They're standing at the gates of the very land. And I'm using the word gates, but they were, in a particular place that was very near where they were going to search out the land. So when I say gates, meaning they're very, very close. And you got 10 spies. They're not considering all the things that the Most High has done to get them to this very place. They're only considering what their eyes are seeing, what their hands have felt, and what their body has experienced. But these other two, they see something very different. Their perception, not that they see something different, but their perception of what they see and have experienced is very different. They believe that their God could bring them in. So they are telling the elders, hey, let's go up. Let's go up. For surely we should take this land and possess it. Why were they so confident, bold about what they could do? It was because their faith was in their Elohim. Their faith was not in them themselves being able to conquer these giants, being able to go and break down these fortified cities, but their faith was in the words that were spoken by their Elohim, that he would surely give them the land. And their faith was also in what their Elohim, what they had saw their Elohim do to every other nation before they even got to the gates of the promised land. So they were able to report something that was true. Even though what they saw was true, their truth abided in the Father. The word tells us that thy word is true. So regardless of what they saw physically in this realm, they believe what is spiritually given from that which is above. So they wanted to combat the reports of the 10 spies. And after they did so, the 10 spies came right back around and said, well, no, We are not able to go up against these people because they are too strong for us. They devour their people. We saw giants there. These people are of great stature. And the last thing they did was they compared who they were to who the people were, when the two spies that gave the good report stood in the stature, in the ability, strength, abundance of their God. This is what the two spies stood in. They didn't look at how small they were. They didn't look at what they did not have. They didn't look at what they could do, but they were reminded of what their Elohim could do and what he has already done. So I leave you with this word of encouragement. Do not faint at the things that are coming upon this earth, the things that we know that have already been done, the words that are being spoken by many, many people. But get into your word. Know your God. Be firm in what your God has spoken. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Build your faith in that alone. Because the scriptures tells us that the word of Yah cannot return unto him void. If we are built up on our most holiest faith based upon the words of the Most High, we have nothing to worry about. We have absolutely nothing to worry about. Just like there were giants and fortified places in that day and time, so shall it be again. But who will you put your faith in? What will you put your faith in? Would it be in yourself to overcome and defeat these giants, these people? Or will it be in the faith of the Most High? Will it be in the instructions that he is giving your household to walk out? Will you be able to look with your eyes the same as everyone else? Your neighbors are looking with their eyes. Other family members are looking with their eyes. The people on social media are looking with their eyes. People on the news stations are looking with their eyes. And we're all seeing and hearing some of the same things. But will you set your seeing, your sight apart? Will you set your hearing apart to hear that which the Most High spoke and believe it? This is the call of action. When the Father says come out with your eyes, come out with your ears, come out into obedience and step away from disobedience so that your faith can be built up. So I pray that this is a word of encouragement to you all. Shalom, shalom.